All right, how is everybody doing tonight? We got my wife is with me tonight. She's going to stop on and tell some of her stories and get to ask her questions if you want to. How's it going, RWA Fishing? Hope you're having a good night. JNC No Limit TV is in the house. I think Grant is in the chat. Budget Outdoors and Survival. How's it going, guys? Thanks for stopping by. Much appreciated. How is your waterfowl season going, Grant? I know I've seen a few pictures or videos of some of your hunts. Our waterfowl season up here is pretty much all wrapped up. All the lakes and ponds and everything have been frozen for quite a while, so there's really no more birds up here. How's it going, Joy Stewart? I hope you're having a great night. Thanks for stopping by. Much appreciated. So of those who haven't met my wife, this is my wife here. Name
Hi,
is
everyone.
Misty. She's the also known as the Big Buck Slayer. She, what was it, 3 years ago now?
Let's see. So it's been 3 years ago now.
Yeah, 3 years ago, she started hunting deer for the very first time, and she got a muzzle loader and went out and shot a pretty nice buck with that. So
It was the first time I'd ever been hunting. My family was not big into hunting whatsoever. And then Justin suggested maybe we go out hunting, and I was like, well, let's give it a try. I figured, why not? So we went out. I remember that day perfectly. It was horribly cold, snowy. I was like, well, maybe this isn't going to work out great because I'm cold. You couldn't see anything in the binoculars because they were all frosted up really bad. And then the deer pops up and he's like, well, is that a buck? And I'm like, looking, trying to figure out, is it? And I'm like, I don't know. The thing's all fogged up. And once we've seen the rack, we're like, that's definitely it. So then I have to lift up my gun. I'm cold. I'm nervous because I've never shot anything. And I'm thinking, am I ever going to be able to shoot this? Am I going to feel okay about shooting this? And he's like, okay, count of three, you're going to shoot, as long as you got it in sights. And he's like, 1, 2, 3, and I shoot, and the deer drops. And then I'm like, thankfully he was excited. If he had not been excited, I don't think I would have been okay to start with, because I just shot the poor animal and it died. But it was, once I seen it, of course, it's the 10-point buck. It made, the whole moment. So, and then it's of course mounted, so.
yep, we have that mounted in our living room. So let's see, we got 1700 Geo Thunder. How's it going, buddy? Thanks for stopping by. Good to see you. I hope your weekend is going great. But yeah, that was your first ever deer hunt at all, right?
At all, yep. I'd never went deer hunting before.
No. And you shot it at 150 yards with the muzzleloader, so that was a pretty good shot. Iron sights, no scope or anything, so that was a good shot. And then you've done some fishing too?
Lots of fishing, and actually fishing in a boat. Usually when I was growing up, we'd only fish offshore because we didn't have a boat. So our fish, we'd catch little tiny sunnies, so it wasn't anything to write home about. And then we started going fishing, and then I started catching northerns and the sunnies and crappies and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. What is your favorite fish to catch there?
It's a toss-up between the northerns and the crappies.
Northerns or crappies, yeah?
Yeah.
You did some spearfishing this last winter too, right?
I did. That's really fun because you're stalking the fish, so it kind of adds hunting into the whole fishing aspect of it. And I remember spearing for the first time and then having to wait and text you because I only got the tail of the fish.
Yeah. Yeah, our winter fishing season here is just started over the last couple weeks. We've got some pretty good ice on some lakes now. Anywhere from like 5 to 10 inches of ice out there already. So another week or so, I think, and we'll be probably driving out there in our cars and stuff pretty soon. So supposed to get pretty cold over this next week. It I don't know, we're down into the 0 to 1, 2 below 0 over the next couple days, and then on the weekend it's supposed to warm up a little bit, so we'll probably get some ice houses out this weekend and some of our permanent houses out on the lakes. So how's it going? The right stuff in here came over from Pusa Studios. Awesome, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, we haven't been out ice fishing yet. My intent was to go out this weekend, but it just didn't quite work with stuff that we had going around the house and everything. But hope to get out there next weekend for sure. We'll get, like I said, the houses put out there, and we'll get into the ice fishing season hot and heavy.
We start getting everything gathered up now, getting all the rods found, all the tackle found, and put in one spot. So
yeah, we've been going through all of our ice fishing stuff, getting it ready. Got the portable houses out and getting all the batteries charged up and all that stuff. RWA says, when things freeze up in Washington, D.C. area, I'll start looking for those warm water discharges. That's right. Yeah, the fish will definitely be hanging around that warm water. We have a river that's not too far from us here where they do some water treatment at a sugar beet plant where they make sugar and they use a lot of water and they dump it down in the river. And in that spot, it actually never freezes during the whole winter up here. The water that they're dumping in there is around 40 degrees or so, so it keeps that part of the river from freezing up. And there's a lot of fish and stuff that gather around in that spot. So with you ice fishing and stuff, we've done some overnights out there and all that. What do you think of that?
I like the overnights. I think last year was the hardest one, though, because I was big pregnant when we decided to do it. So it was a little harder to sleep, but it was still worth the fishing. So
yeah, we got a pretty nice house we built a couple years ago. It's on a drop-down trailer. And then we got some cots that we set up in there, and we sleep on those. And then I got a little cooking stove and stuff, so we can cook out there and everything. So that's pretty cool. What's your some of your biggest fish that you've caught?
Oh, good question. Well, the northern, I want to say that one was...
How's it going, Travis Scott? Good to see you.
18 inches, I want to say 15. 15 inches, 18.
The northern, no. So you've caught, what, a 13-pound channel cat is
My
her biggest channel cat. And her biggest bass is just a little over 3 pounds. And then her biggest northern to date was just under 5 pounds. So.
Yeah, your channel cat beat mine, though. I had the biggest for a while until you went and got your big one.
Yep. It's all right. There's a lot of fishing yet to be done, so. And then you've been out duck hunting a few times too, huh?
I have. The thing that sticks out the very first time we went out duck hunting and having to put on the waders to go put the duck decoys out into the water was the fact that I didn't expect my feet to stick into the mud so bad, and I wasn't expecting it, and my foot stuck, and I tipped over and filled up my, what are they called? The waders with water. I do remember that.
Yep. So. One of her first experiences wearing waders out putting the duck decoys up and stuff was her getting stuck in the mud and then tipping over. I was on shore laughing quite hard because it wasn't that deep of water, so I wasn't worried about her, but it was pretty funny. She filled up her waders with water, and I ended up having to hunt the rest of that day a little wet.
And not even getting a duck either. I've yet to shoot a duck.
She has yet to shoot a duck, yes. How's it going, TJ Smith? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, she's shot many times at ducks, but has yet to hit one yet. So, but it's not for a lack of trying.
Nope. There's times that you're like, what were you shooting at? I'm like, the duck that's not behind me.
think the only thing that you haven't done yet was try to shoot them right off the water, but
Right.
yep.
Every time it's up in the air, and I should stick to the video game. At least I can shoot the duck on the video game.
She's been out goose hunting a few times too, sitting in the field underneath the decoys. I think she's taken a few naps on them. But
I did. It was very comfy. I stayed quiet that way.
So have you ever fallen asleep in the deer blind?
In the deer blind? Yeah, a few times. Usually if I'm propped up against something, it usually guarantees I am going to doze off to sleep.
So last year, you went archery hunting for the first time.
I did, yes. You bought me my first bow for our anniversary. And I went out, and the very first...
Nice anniversary gift is a bow.
Yes. And a pink one on top of it.
That's right.
So yeah, the first time that I actually shot at a deer with the bow, I missed. I was a little too nervous and excited because, of course, there's the 4-point buck standing in front of me, and he was super close. I should not have missed. I pull up, I'm all excited. The arrow shoots right in front of him, and I've always shot to the left every time except for that moment, and I shot far right. And I was like, well, I didn't get that one. I got it on camera, however. I did get a picture of the deer on the camera, so that should count for something.
Yeah, we had our trail camera set up right where the deer came in, so the trail camera actually took a picture of it right before she shot at it. So
always have the deer that got away.
that's right. And then it was about 3 weeks later.
Yep, I was sitting there, and I'm sitting in the blind by myself. Usually I always have Justin with me, so he kind of helps calm my nerves because he can tell I get a little too antsy and I start wiggling too much. So I had to figure out how to do this by myself. I could hear something walking beside me to the left, and I was like, oh, there has to be deer. I'm just sure of it. And next thing I know, a deer jumps over the fence, and I see the first one, and I'm like, oh, this is great. Well, it just kept walking. I'm like, well, okay, never mind. The second one jumps over, and I'm like, well, if this one stops, I can have him. And sure enough, it took 2 steps, and then just stopped, turned perfectly. I'm like, okay, I'm going to shoot it. I shot it, and I could see where the arrow actually hit it, and it went through, and I'm like, yes, I got it. Well, I didn't think to watch where the deer went either to know for sure. And then all I text my husband is, I got it. And then I'm like, no, I don't know what to do because I don't have him there. I'm not used to hunting by myself. And so I just kind of sat there waiting for him.
Yeah, I was set up in a tree stand. I don't know, it was about a quarter mile away or so, across the road and down on the edge of the property. So she texted me and said she got a deer, and I said, all right, well, I'll let's wait a little while, and I'll come down and I'll get you, and then we'll go look for it. So I waited for about 20 minutes or so and climbed down and then walked over to her, and I asked her, well, do you know where it was standing when you shot it so we could find the arrow? And we found the arrow right away, and it had she hit it really good. So it only went about 25 yards. It just took a right, and it was just off to the right of her blind, but she didn't really watch it where it went, but otherwise she would have seen it just go off to her right and bed down there. But yeah, she did a pretty good shot there, and it was pretty neat. And then a few weeks or a week before that, you actually had Minnesota Public Radio go out there with you and do a little story on you, didn't you?
I did, yes. He was doing a story on women hunting because it's starting to become more popular with women going out to hunt. So he kind of wanted to get a female's perspective. There's 2 other women that he was going to interview, but only myself would he come out to the tent and sit so he could get, the whole sitting in the tent, hearing the winds, hopefully seeing deer. Of course, we did not see deer. He asked questions about, what made me start hunting, how did I get into it, and the fact that, like I told my husband, I did not grow up hunting. That was not something we did. So it was fun. It was extremely windy, however, so it made it a little more difficult to hear any of the deer, but thankfully it also kept it from me scaring the deer away from talking because the wind was so loud. but we didn't end up seeing anything. Once I did get the deer, I was able to send him a picture of it so he could still put it in the article so everyone knew I managed to get my deer, however. So.
All right. So he went out there, sat in the blind. How long did he stay out there with you guys?
I think we were out there for 3 hours. 2 or 3 hours. I know we would have been out there a little sooner, but we gotten in the vehicles to go, and I got going down the road, and we were about a couple miles from the house, and I realized I forgot my release for my bow, and I was like, oh, this is fantastic. So I had to call him on the phone and tell him I had to go back to the house because I didn't have the release for my bow. Like, well, that was embarrassing because here I'm supposed to be hunting, and I forget the one thing you have to have.
And yeah, I'll post a link to that story from the NPR's website if anybody's interested to go read that. Grant says, I read that article you posted before. Yeah, it's pretty cool. She got picked because of where I bought the bow from. We bought it from a local sports shop, and NPR actually contacted that sports shop and was asking for, if there was any women hunters that come in there, if they wanted to post something up in their store to have people contact them because they were reaching out to try to find people to interview and stuff. So then they actually called us and asked if my wife wanted to do that, and we said, yeah, that would be really neat. So, all right, let's get caught up here. Let's see. RWA says, when she got her first deer, who dragged it out?
Oh, the very first one?
Yeah, the very first one that she got with muzzleloader, we actually drove right up to it. We didn't have to drag it at all. It was shot out in a cornfield, and so we were able to drive right up to it. And then her first archery deer, though,
I drug that
she drug it out. Yeah, she drug it for about, I don't know, it was 150, maybe 200 yards up to the truck, and then I helped her load it up into the truck. She gutted it and cleaned it all out. She broke it all down, skinned it, did the whole thing.
I think I look forward to that part the most, is the skinning and gutting part.
Yep. Let's see, what else we got in here? Let's see, Joy says, I know how to field dress deer and pack it out. That's pretty cool, Joy. Grant says that main thing for a woman hunter is to have someone taking her that is patient and makes it enjoyable. That's right. That's the key with taking anybody out that hasn't hunted before. J&C, though, says, any advice for a first-time woman hunter?
Just to simply enjoy yourself, really. Just have your equipment and just know that, do the best you can. There's really nothing to it. Just go out and have fun.
Yeah, and I would say, just don't be too hard on yourself, too, with anybody doing anything for the first time. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. It doesn't make it a successful hunt or a successful fishing trip if you get something or not get something. That shouldn't make or break your trip. It should just be, spending time with the person you're with and just enjoying the outdoors, because that's really, the biggest thing. And, if you're successful, that just tops it all off. But just because you're not successful shouldn't mean that it was a bad hunt or anything. Because I tell you what, especially with hunting, you will be unsuccessful most of the time. You will not be coming home with a deer or anything. You'll log a lot of hours, and then you will be successful sometimes, but it's just fun being out there. Let's see, JNC says, Grant, want to come take Cassie hunting? So I think I've showed you a few of their videos, but Grant, they've been hunting ducks and stuff. And then his wife has been shooting a few ducks. So she's the one that's been shooting, I think, most of them in the video. So. ODST Banjo says, nice stream. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Joy says, my dad taught me to hunt. He also took a tire off my first car when we went in the house. Yeah, it's awesome. Hunting and fishing. I really didn't grow up with a lot of it either. My dad wasn't really big into hunting. Fishing every once in a while, he would take us out fishing. But it was really when I was like in my mid-teens when I really got into hunting and fishing. I had a few friends that we did a lot of it together, and then it just kind of progressed along the lines. When I was in my early 20s, I actually moved to Devil's Lake, North Dakota, and I was a guide, a fishing guide for a few years there. And that really sparked my passion for the outdoors. And then also taking people in the outdoors too, you know, taking people out for the first time, and especially kids and stuff. I really enjoy doing that. Let's see here. Grant says, I don't shoot when she's with me. That's good, yeah. She is a pretty good shot, though. I've seen her shoot a few of those ducks. Jane C. says, we can wear, does your wire outfish you? Does your wife outfish you?
No.
No. Well, there's sometimes that she will outfish me. There has been a few cases where she does, but
most times he does it, and usually if he's doing really good and we're wanting to fish, then like if his line breaks, we just hand him another fishing pole, and I fix that one and hand it to him. Because that I can guarantee.
Let's see. ODST Banner says, my late dad never got the chance to teach me how to hunt often, but gave me the basics on how to fish. Yeah, that's really nice that, you know, me as a dad, as a father now to 3 sons, I really enjoy passing on my knowledge and then seeing them learn more too, and becoming better at, you know, everything outdoors and really everything in their life. It's really nice to be able to teach them and then see them use that and grow as little. Well, I guess Jackson is getting older now. He's not really a little guy anymore.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, he'll be 8 tomorrow.
He will be 8 tomorrow. Yeah, it's Jackson's birthday tomorrow, so he's pretty excited. He's been telling us all day, you know, it's my birthday tomorrow. He wants to make sure we don't forget. Joy says, I have to go, but great to see you, Misty. Well, thanks for stopping by, Joy. I appreciate it, and you have a great night.
It was nice to meet you, Joy.
Let's see. ODST says, I love fishing a lot. I do too. Fishing is really fun. The number one on my list probably is waterfall hunting. I really like waterfall hunting. It's kind of what I started off doing as a teenager, and that really has a soft spot for me. And then my next favorite would be fishing. Really, any type of fishing. I don't really care what I'm fishing for. If it's sunfish or if it's you know, bass or whatever, it's all good to me. And then I guess third would be hunting basically everything else. I like deer hunting, pheasant hunting, turkey hunting. We do a lot of different types of hunting. Common Man's fly fishing. How's it going? Good to see you. I fish and the wife does my car maintenance. That's pretty good. You do some car maintenance too, so I'm with you on that. But yeah, no, Misty here. She, for as far as like dressing out the animals and stuff, so she's actually done a whole cow by herself before. This was not last year, but the year before. So we have a little farm here too, where we live. It's not like a really big farm, and it's not what I do for a living, but it's kind of more like a hobby. We grow a lot of our own food, and we have some cattle. We have some hogs that we have, ducks and chickens, and we even have some goats that we milk and make cheese out of and stuff like that. And I think that's it. We got a pony too, I guess.
Yeah, can't forget the pony.
Yeah. But a couple years ago, we were butchering one of our cows. So before I was going to work, I shot the cow, and I turned to her before I was going to go to work, and I said, "Are you good?" And she turned to me and said, "Yeah, I'm good." And so I went to work, and when I got back, she had the cow in the garage, hung up. It was all skinned out, all gutted out, and everything. And we let that hang for a few days, and then she actually broke it all down, and then we processed it in our kitchen. We got a big industrial like meat grinder, and we actually have one of those meat saws and everything, so we can make all the steaks and all that stuff. And zip blocked it and did all that. So she's actually really good. You actually worked at a butcher shop back in the day, so she knows how to break down animals and do all the cuts and stuff pretty good. So she's done that with cows and pigs and all that stuff.
Deer were a big one.
JC, fishing pond build soon. Just saying, sounds like you got room for a pond.
It is a goal.
It is a goal. It is a goal. We don't own a lot of acreage here, but we're always looking for more acreage to buy, and it is the goal to have a pond and some hunting land of our own. Currently, we don't really have a lot of, we don't really have any hunting land of our own. We do it all through private land where we ask farmers and stuff to hunt their land. We have one guy that we've been hunting his land for, 4 years. Yeah, it's been about 4 years now. He's let us hunt every year, and he owns like 2,800 acres. That's not too far from us. So that's where we do most of our deer hunting. And then we have a guy that lives about, an hour away that has some really good turkey land. He lives along a river, and there seems to always be about 70 or 80 turkeys that are on his land somewhere. And he's been letting us hunt every year, too, in the springtime. So that's been good. And then we just, we're always hunting different places when it comes to waterfall and everything else. We just kind of move around a lot, and people let us hunt here and there. But I tell you, it is getting harder nowadays than it was, say, 10 years ago to find hunting land. It's getting really competitive now, especially out in our area out here. We live in a really rural area. We're about, an hour away from really any decent-sized town, and that's not even that big. But with more people moving out in the country, and the land is getting broke up into smaller and smaller chunks, so it's getting harder and harder to find land to hunt on. Let's see here. RWA say most men like a woman that can cook, but a woman that can kill and gut a deer is a gem. That's right. And cook it. Yeah, that's right. Grant says, my wife worked in the meat department at a grocery store for 5 years. Yeah. So she knows all about that too, all about the cuts and all that stuff. And let's see. Grant says, land is so expensive here. It's getting really expensive up here too. It wasn't that long ago where you could buy some like hunting land, non-farmable land for like $800 an acre. It was actually pretty common. But now, junk land, as I call it, or hunting land, that's going for like $2,800 an acre up here now. And farmland is going for like $6,000 an acre. And that's a lot of money. We bought this house, we've been here 5 years?
5 years, because it'll be Jackson's birthday.
So we bought this house 5 years ago, and basically it's just a farmstead. We have around 10 acres of land, and the people that had this land, or this house, and the land around it, sold it off into chunks, So the land went to somebody else, and then the house sold, and we bought it. And so at that time, the land was owned by like some investment group in California, and then they just rented it out to other farmers. And we were like, well, someday when the land goes up for sale, we should have enough equity in the house, or we'll just buy the land around the house. Well, it happened after we were here for 2 years. The land went up for sale. It was a lot quicker than what we thought. So we're like, all right, well, we'll buy it and we'll figure out, how to make that work. And so I called them and asked them how much they wanted, and they wanted $6,200 an acre. And I was like, holy crap, I'm not going to do that. And it did end up selling for $6,000 an acre, which is pretty ridiculous. So now we'll just have to wait. I don't know. We'll probably have to buy land that's not right around us and it's a little farther away, but it is what it is.
A lot of people don't have that where they have their hunting shack that they drive to and stay at.
So RWA says, I can imagine Misty's YouTube channel, Pioneer Woman. Yeah, she does a lot. She basically takes care of all the animals and stuff too. So I work outside the home, and then she stays here and takes care of the kids and the animals and does gardening. We put in a pretty big garden too. We actually have several gardens, but we grow basically, I don't know, 90 to 95% of our food we grow, and then we can and freeze it. And of course, with all the animals, then we freeze that meat too. So we don't really go to the grocery store and buy, meat or potatoes or anything like that. When we're going to the grocery store, we're buying like sugar and flour and the stuff that we don't really want to make. But I always have a freezer full of meat, and we got all kinds of corn and canned just about everything. So let's see. So yeah, what is one of the things that you want to hunt here that we haven't hunted yet?
Bear. I want to hunt bear.
Yeah. So Misty does want to go on a bear hunt. So here in Minnesota, we live in Minnesota here, and we do have a bear season for black bear. We live, I don't know, what is it? It's about 2.5 hours from the bear zone, the quota zone. So they do a lottery for the zone, and we applied 2 years now. We didn't get picked yet, but we keep those preference points. We didn't apply this year because, she was pregnant, and we had a new little one who was born in April.
Yep.
And so we didn't really want to apply for the license, get picked, and then have to do it this fall with a new little one. So let's see here. New sub are sent from Pusa. Well, I think we got a Pusa raid. Well, hello, Jenny. Thanks for stopping by. Much appreciated. I think Pusa got done with their live stream and sent people over here, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
I sure do appreciate that. We just been chit-chatting here. My wife has been telling her stories about fishing and hunting and everything. So then we had a newborn this spring, so we didn't really want to get into that. So next year maybe we'll try applying for that again, and then going all in next fall. So
that'd be fun. Hunting something that wants to hunt you per se.
And then we gotta get into more waterfowl hunting with her too, so she can hone her skills on shooting in the air. So
the duck would just freeze for just a few seconds in the air.
That's right. But this winter here, we usually have like these weekends where we go out on the lake and we stay out there overnight. We do that for usually New Year's. We stay out there for New Year's, and then we hello, Pusa Studios. Thanks for stopping by. I sure do appreciate it. It's pretty cool. They're sending people over here.
Thank you.
We were on the live stream earlier. And if anybody hasn't or doesn't know Pusa Studios, please check them out. They're a great channel. They're great community supporters and have some pretty cool live streams that they do just about every night except Saturdays. And then they do interviews and stuff, which is very interesting. But yeah, we'll get those ice houses out there, and we'll start doing some overnights and if everything works real good, we'll do some live streams while we're out there fishing and stuff. So that'll be pretty neat too. RWA says, practice the duck shoot at a carnival.
Oh, there you go. And go broke.
And go broke. Well, if you can win one of those carnival shooting games, then you're doing pretty good.
Right? Then I should be guaranteed a duck then.
Jenny says, I'm from North Dakota. I came in about the time you were talking about bears. Well, Jenny, we live in Minnesota. We're in the western part of the state, so we're probably not that far from you. Grant asked, do we shoot skeet? We do. This past year we didn't do a whole lot of shooting, but we do. We actually set up a pretty elaborate range on our property here. So we're kind of unique. We have 10 acres of land, and then we have a half a mile long driveway up to the main road. So we can actually shoot set up a pretty long rifle range, and then we have a lot of clay pigeon throwers and stuff, and we get a pretty big shoot. We didn't do this last year, but we usually get a pretty good shoot together a couple times a year where we have several people over and we shoot like all day. The neighbors have told us before that they thought that a war was going on because their windows and stuff were rattling, but but they usually come over too, and it's all fun. But we end up shooting a lot of rounds some of those days. And then we do shoot like tannerite and stuff like that too, so we make it a little interesting. Let's see, Southern Fisherman, what's up guys? Tuning in from California. Well, welcome Southern Fisherman, good to see you. I hope everything is going well in California. He says, my wife outshoots me every time, but we are still happily married.
That's good.
That is good. Well, Misty's a pretty good shot, too. Like I said earlier, when she shot her deer with the muzzleloader, she shot at 150 yards with iron sights with the muzzleloader, which is pretty good.
And it was cold, so...
Jenny says, we have usually deer hunters. They are usually pretty respectful. Well, that's good, Jenny. Most hunters are respectful. There are a few bad apples out there. And with anything, there's always some bad apples in most things. And a lot of times, a few bad apples ruins it for everybody else. But for the most part, hunters are very respectful. I do appreciate the Pusa raid. I thank everybody for stopping in here. That's pretty neat. That's actually our very first raid.
How cool is that?
Yeah, that is pretty neat. Let's see. Orange Jelly says, hi there from Tennessee. Welcome. Good to see you. I hope everything's going good down in your neck of the woods. Jeep Thing Outdoors says raid. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. I sure appreciate it. Gabriel Z, thanks for stopping by. I sure appreciate it. Pusa's awesome.
Yeah, they are.
Yes, they are. They're a great channel. I love watching those two and doing their... I really like the interviews. It's pretty neat seeing some pretty interesting people that they have up there. Nature calls, but I'll be right back. Carolina Cats, congratulations on the wheel spin at Pusa. Thank you, buddy. Good to see you. A lot of good people coming in here. I think we might just hit a record for most people in the chat here. I think our previous record is 20.
Yes.
The Video Game Manic, hello. How's it going? Old Hague.
24.
Good to see everybody. Holy cow, we got 24 in the chat. That's a new record for us. We sure do appreciate it. That beats our old record by 4 so far. That is pretty cool. We've just been hanging out here tonight. Usually I sit here by myself or with Jackson, and we talk about hunting and fishing stories and stuff. But my wife decided to come on tonight and talk about some of her experiences and stuff. So she's already told some pretty funny stories. One of which was, you should tell the story again about your waders.
Oh, the very first time he takes us duck hunting and we have to go put the decoys out into the water. And I thought it'd be easy. You know, you just walk out there, you put the decoys out, and you come back. Well, I'm getting out there and the mud sinks in quite far, and I didn't expect that. So I wasn't compensating my balance with it. So when I got sucked in and I tried to move, I fell backwards and filled my waders up with water. And it wouldn't have been so bad, but it's really cold water. And it was very slow, so trying to get back up because I'm still stuck. And then I have to finish the decoys too, of course, and then get back. And Jackson was there too, and he thought that was hilarious. He was sitting there laughing. He's like, "Mom, you fell in the water."
It was pretty funny. I was sitting up on shore laughing pretty hard. So let's see. Kimber Kit says, cute couple. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for stopping by. Much appreciated. Let's see here. Austin says, how you get that subscribe button to pop up? What and how are these overlays? So I've been using OBS. I downloaded it, I don't know, a few weeks ago now, and I've been fooling around with it. So I'm using OBS and doing overlays and stuff with that. And then I'm running it on a Mac. So I found a OBS download for Mac, and I'm using a Mac to do all my editing and everything on. Let's see here. Jeep Things Outdoors says I'm back. That's good. I hope everything went okay. The Video Game Manic says, I've thought of hunting at times. What things are you thinking about hunting for? I've been looking for your page, RW, and wanted to see that pic video I got you. Austin said, I was going to say use Streamlabs, but they don't have a Mac client. Yeah, I haven't found one for Streamlabs, but I did find one for OBS. Video Game Manic says, probably deer hunting. Are you thinking of doing archery or rifle hunting? Old Hig says, I do have an appetite for an apple, but I don't have teeth. Well, you can take the apple and put it in a blender and then drink it. Because applesauce is pretty good too. Common Man's Flyfish says, you guys are awesome. Catch you all later. Unfortunately, Monday morning comes way too early. Well, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it, and you have a great night. Carolina Cat says, start small, video gamer. Got some squirrels first or rabbits? Just a suggestion. Yep. Squirrels and rabbits are always a good thing to start off with. Old Hag, let's see. Kimberkiss says, Old Hag, what about cooked apple? You can put them in a microwave with water and cinnamon on top. That sounds pretty good too. I was going one cast, one fish. I really liked your last video with the with your explanation on the how the sonar works and stuff. That was well put together. Organic gardening in North Carolina, how's it going? He says, I got shot one time when bow hunting. Well, now that's an interesting story. You didn't shoot yourself, right? Because I've seen people do that. I actually know a guy that did that where he drew back and the arrow fell off when he was going to shoot, and he actually shot himself in the hand. And my dad's in the chat. How's it going? Up and running on a generator, he says. Yeah, we've been having weird power outages and stuff around here today. I live, I don't know, it's about 8-9 miles from my dad, and they actually haven't had power for several hours. And we had some rolling outages earlier, but for the last hour or so, we've been okay. So, One Cast One Fish says, thanks, glad you enjoyed it. I hope to do some more with an in-depth explanation of settings. Yeah, I really like that with how you had the screen behind you, and the graphics was really good. And you explained it very well. How you came off and how you talked about it was really good. See, Old Haig says, then rather give me apple flap. That's touch the ring with a flower and so big. Okay, so Organic Gardener says, walking out in the dark, guy said he saw antlers. Well, that's one of those bad apple hunters that I was talking about earlier.
They do exist.
They do exist. You should never be shooting at antlers. Well, I'm glad that you're still around, and it wasn't a really bad accident, because that can get pretty ugly pretty fast. Austin says, gotta get going. Awesome stories. Have a nice night, you two. Well, thanks for stopping by, Austin. Much appreciated. I really appreciate you guys stopping out. With a 22? So you got shot with a 22 while you were bow hunting? Let's see here. JNC, we can wear your surprise gifts will be in mail in the morning. Kind of need an address. I will send you an address, yes. It's pretty hard to, I guess, send a gift without an address. I'll make sure I send you an address after the stream here. Orange Jelly, I gotta get to bed. I got school, 17 and in 12th grade. Well, thanks for stopping by, and you have a good week at school.
He's hunting a deer with a 22.
He was hunting a deer with a 22. Huh. Well, that would not be fun. I do have, let's see here. Pusa says, retweeted, I'm going to go and bake my muffins for tomorrow. And I'll be keeping waiting for the photo profile for your amazing photos. Thank you, Pusa. I appreciate the raid. I appreciate everything you guys do. And good luck with cooking those muffins. And happy birthday to your daughter, too. I think it was her daughter's birthday today. I think it was, yeah. And it's our son's birthday tomorrow. So. Let's see. Organic, he told the game warden he was squirrel hunting. So I do have a story, though, about somebody getting shot. So I did have a friend that was shooting at a steel target, and he was doing it way too close. When you're shooting at a steel target, you should have the steel target at least 50 yards away or more, depending on what kind of rifle you're using. But he was shooting at a .44 Magnum revolver at a steel target that was like 15 yards in front of him. And when he shot the target, a piece of lead came back and actually hit him in the leg. And so he shot himself off a ricochet. But so if anybody out there shoots steel targets, make sure that they are the right distance. You don't want to do it too close, because then it gets dangerous. One Cast One Fish says, Pusa Studios muffins for all your YouTube fans. Yeah, I can give you my address too to send those muffins. Hi, John. Hope you're having a good night. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, GNC, that was crazy. Metal targets are really fun to shoot, but you've got to be, with everything, you have to be responsible. Not only with shooting, but, with anything. Driving a car, all of it. I mean, you just got to be responsible and think about what you're doing. Old Haig says, weapons are forbidden in Holland. Even the army have to scream, bang, bang. Oh, yeah. So old Haig was over in Pusa Studios too, and saying stuff like that. There's funny stuff. Let's see what is it. I am hungry and I like muffins. I do too, one Cass. See, I've been on a seafood diet for many years. Many years. I see food and I eat it. I know, lame joke, but hey. That's what you're gonna get on a Sunday at 9:30. Old Haig says, seriously, they don't have the money for bullets. RWA says, a buddy and I shot 22 caliber bullets from a slingshot at a stop sign and they wouldn't go off. We ducked down behind cars. Well, I've never done this, but I think it was my dad that actually told me stories of holding 22 shells with like a vice grip and then hitting them with a hammer to make them go off. I've never personally done this, but I believe it was my dad that was telling me stories.
It has to be, because I actually remember that.
Yeah. So that's probably not the smartest thing either, but... Carolina Cat says, what? Slingshots? He says, yes, it works. I have done it.
At least now we know.
I have used like I've made these like water can rocket things where you have like a tub of water that has a few inches in it, and then you can take a coffee can, you put it in there, you drill a hole in the top, and then you can put like a firecracker or something in it, and then when you light it off, the air pressure then shoots it up, and that'll go up a ways, but JMC says, we can wear outdoors. I just figured out why your boy is MIA. Vikings lost and it broke his little heart. This is true. Yeah, he went to bed already. And the Vikings lost. Yeah, that was kind of rough. Everybody, all the teams in the NFC North lost today, which, I knew that all the other ones lost going into the Vikings game. And I figured, well, hey, we're going to be the only ones that win, but that didn't work out that way. It's been, it was kind of an ugly game. I don't know. There's a few throws that were just kind of out there in no man's land, where there was definitely some confusion between some of the receivers and our quarterback.
And don't forget our kicker.
Yeah, and our kicker keeps missing kicks. I just don't get it. We've been Minnesota's been cursed with kickers for the last few years now. Organic Gardening says, I would think the casting would go farther than the lead. Yeah, if you were throwing them with the slingshot, really, it's not that dangerous. I mean, don't anybody do that. You shouldn't do that. But really, yeah, that isn't too dangerous, because if the barrel that holds and points all the gases forward really gives the bullet the velocity. And if you don't have the shell in anything, it just kind of all goes out of the side, and there isn't much velocity that actually pushes anything out. So even for a 22 round like that, I don't even know if it would puncture skin or anything. One cast on the Bears game was awesome. Great game. Yeah, the Bears game was pretty good. It was crazy that they got that last touchdown there and went into overtime. I didn't actually get to watch the overtime, but I did watch up to that point, and then the Vikings game came on, so I was watching that. Let's see, Old Hank says, I did have an air rifle and change a traffic sign into a calendar. Make it hollow and you can drain the spaghetti. My Slice of Heaven Outdoors, how's it going? Good to see you. I hope your weekend's been going great. It's mainly the powder combusting from the strike. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, if you don't have the shells inside of a barrel that can hold all the gases and direct it forward, there isn't much velocity there for anything. Sounds like our little James is maybe getting up now.
I think so.
Yep. So Misty's got to leave to go put him back to bed. Little boy James, he sleeps pretty good through the night, though. He usually goes to bed around 6 o'clock, and then he'll wake up once or twice through the night here and get up about 6 o'clock in the morning. But he's up there. He's not full-fledged crying yet, but he is waking up a little bit. One cast, one fish says, well, it's 10:45 for me. I'm heading to bed. Glad I got to watch you for a bit. Hope to catch you more in the future. Well, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. You have a good night. Jane C says, my brothers are engineers for the armory. We blew stuff up a lot. Well, I do shoot quite a bit of tannerite. We don't get, anything crazy. Like, I've seen people use tannerite to, blow up, RVs and all kinds of stuff, but we don't do anything like that. But we do, I do like the exploding targets. We'll blow up like little, car toys and stuff like that, which is pretty fun. But I do like shooting an explosive target, especially long range. We'll do a lot of long range shooting. So with our half-mile long driveway, we'll get to 500, 600, and 700 yard shots with our rifles, and then we'll put up exploding targets out there, and that's pretty fun. Old Hake says, tip, give the little one a bit of gin through his milk. Works perfect. How old is your son? Okay, so I have 3 sons. The newest born was born in April. The second one is 7, going to be 8 actually tomorrow. It's his birthday. So he's pretty excited. He's been letting us know all day that it's his birthday tomorrow. He's been saying, you know what is tomorrow? I said, oh, what's tomorrow? He said, it's my birthday. So he doesn't want us to forget about that. But the newest born, yeah, he was born in April. So he's already been fishing a couple times, and he went out hunting once. Misty and I walked. There's a little creek by our house here, and we walked it once during the rifle season for deer a few weeks ago, just to see if we kicked up anything. And so she walked with James, had him in a little sling, so he sat in front of her, and then she had the coat around him. And they walked up the creek, and then Jackson and I sat up at the end to see if there was any deer or anything that came through. And he sat there and sang the whole time. He was humming and singing the whole time, ha 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 ha, as he was going. He had a lot of fun. Hello, the Susie channel. Thanks for stopping by. Hello, I am so happy I caught your live stream. Well, I'm glad that you stopped by. I do like your little food review, I guess, unpackaging videos. I looked for those Oreos today, too. I haven't seen those special Oreos that you did in your last video. I looked all over the store today, so I just had to get the regular double stuffed Oreos, but I did find it was a party size bag though, so I'll be good for Oreos for a couple days anyway. ODST Banjo, well, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Have a good night. John says, good, put out a new video tonight. All right, you found them at Target. See, I was at Walmart. I was looking all over Walmart, but I'll have to check out Target. Were they good? Did they taste like birthday cake? Yes, the party size bag will last me a couple days anyway. The normal size bag only lasts like one day. Carolina Cat says, I'm out. Good night, all. Thanks for stopping by. Much appreciated. Have a good night. Old Hag says, do you have also Oreo ice cream? I do like Oreo ice cream. My favorite ice cream, though, is cookie dough. It always has been, and I think it probably always will be. Cookie dough ice cream is just really good. They smell like cake frosting. Yeah, they looked really good, too, so I do want to try them. I'm going to have to go look at Target and see if I can't find them. Weekend where I got sniffed at the airport, they found nitroglycerin. I figured out later it was probably from doing motors from black powder. Well, that's interesting. I bet you that was a tense time at the airport then. I've got not necessarily flagged in security at the airport before, but I did get pulled aside once. I was traveling for work, and I was flying down to Nashville, and I got down there fine, and then a few days later when I was coming back, and I was going through the security, they flagged my computer. They grabbed it and took it off to the side and then took me out of the line, and they took it all out and looked at it, and they were wiping it down with this, I don't know what it was, but they were wiping down with some kind of chemical and seeing if there was something present. They wouldn't tell me what it was. I asked them a couple times. They said, oh, we're just doing an extra check. And so I was off to the side for, I don't know, 15 minutes or whatever while they were looking my computer over. And then they put it all back and gave it to me and said I was good to go. But it says, not too bad. They just asked if I had heart problems. Well, that is interesting. Yeah, I don't know what they were looking for, but it's like they looked where the computer goes together, and they kept swabbing that seam all the way around, and I don't know if they thought the computer was like taken apart or what. I'm not really sure. But I was just thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, if they seize this computer, it was my work computer. I was like, if they seize this computer, I don't know what I'm going to tell them. Like, I don't know. They took it. RWA, Ghana, North Carolina, no-fly list in your future. Yeah, that's right. You don't want to be put on a no-fly list. Yeah, Susie, I don't mind flying. I haven't flown a lot. It actually wasn't that many years ago when I flew for the first time. When Misty and I got married, was the very first time I ever flew. We flew down to Vegas, and we actually got married in Vegas. And then I've flown a few times for work since then. But my slice of heaven, what kind of work do I do? So I am a plant manager at a food processing facility that processes organic and non-GMO grains. So we grow grains all over the country, really all over the world. We import and export a lot too. So we do like edible beans, kidney beans, pinto beans, stuff like that. And we grow them all over the world. We bring them to the plant, we clean them up, and they go into cans and soups and all that kind of stuff. So I run that plant. I'm the plant manager there, and I've worked there for just a little over 10 years now. So. Yes, Susie, it is a good job. I've really enjoyed it. you know, my plan is to retire there as long as they keep me around. So, and it's pretty interesting. I mean, we deal with oils and flours and all kinds of different grains, and it's pretty neat. It's a pretty neat process and how all that works too, and how it ends up from the field and how it ends up, you know, like in the store in a product. It's a very interesting process. Well, I think Misty's back now. What's that?
So he's back to sleep. He got cold. He kicked out of the blanket.
Yeah, we were talking about we talked about flying a little bit and how how my first time flying was down in when we got married down in Vegas, which was a pretty fun trip. I had never been to Vegas before. I don't think you had been either.
No, I'd never been. No.
And we decided to go down there and get married. We flew down there. We were down there for a week.
Yeah, it was a whole week. Yeah.
Yeah, we were down there for a week and had a awesome time. We did a lot of stuff, seen a lot of shows. We, I think it was at least two shows a day we would see.
Yeah.
And so we got to see a lot of stuff. My Slice of Heaven Outdoors. Is Misty trying to take over your channel like my wife is mine? Yes. Yes. Organic Gardening says if people educated themselves on GMO, they definitely don't want it. Yeah, that's right. I mean, we at our facility we do all non-GMO and organic. We don't process any GMO beans at all. So, and it's a growing industry. I mean, our organic side has grown over the years a lot, and especially the non-GMO side too. RWA says anything happened in Vegas that stayed in Vegas. It all stays in Vegas, RW. It all stays in Vegas. Except for we came back, but everything else stayed there.
And our bags came back. That didn't.
Our bags did come back, but they almost didn't go down. So we took two big suitcases down to Vegas with us because we were planning on buying a lot of stuff and bringing them back. And so when we went down, like I think they weren't even like half full. They're like really empty, big suitcases. And we go down when we checked in the bags and they weighed them and stuff, they kind of looked at us like, you know, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, we want a lot of room to bring back souvenirs and stuff. So we get down there and we land in Vegas and, you know, we take that train and everything. We go up to where you get the bags and here comes one bag and the thing went around several times and our other bag wasn't there. And so we're like, well, okay, well, let's go up to the customer service counter and see where, you know, what happened or whatever. So we go up there and we ask about it and she like told us what to step aside for a few minutes. And it wasn't a minute or two later, the lady says, oh, we found your bags. A lady is out in front of the building trying to put them in a taxi. And I'm just like sitting here astonished, like okay, somebody tried to steal our bag, okay? That's fine. I get that. But how in the world did they know? Like, it was like 2 minutes and they found our bag and seen it on the camera out in front of the building and seen this lady have it. And I was like, how did they even do that? But they got our bag back and we were fine and we got to the hotel and we filled those bags back up and they were a lot heavier coming back. But yeah, I was mind boggled on how they were able to find her bag so quick and know it was ours. Like I don't know if they were watching her like at the bag carousel thing and she was just acting weird, so they were watching her the whole time or what. But like in 2 minutes they were like, oh yeah, we know who has your bag. She's trying to put it in the trunk, and they went out and got it and. We never seen the lady. I don't know if they took her into a room somewhere. I don't know. But they got her bag, and it was ours. And I don't know. I still don't understand exactly how that worked, but I was glad it did. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had any clothes.
And clothes are expensive down there. It's not even like it was like a cheap fix, you know?
Yeah, clothes are expensive down there because I did do a screw up where, so we were at the hotel and we did like the laundry service thing or whatever, and I gave them all of my clothes, right? And I thought they were going to be back at a certain time or whatever, and they weren't, and we needed to go to a show, and I didn't have any pants. They had all my pants, and I didn't have any pants. And I know it's Vegas, but I don't think they're going to let me walk around with no pants on. I think they would still arrest you just like they do up here. So I had her go down in the lobby of the casino there, where they had, you know, stores and shops and whatever, to buy a pair of pants. Yeah, like $140 pair of pants. That was the cheapest pair of pants that we could find. That was, you know, that we could get like right then because we had to go to the show. So that was the most money I've ever spent on a pair of jeans, and I still have those jeans today. And no, I do not fit in them anymore. but yeah, while we were down there, it was pretty fun. We got to see David Copperfield.
This is the very last show, though, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah. And we got to see countless others. I mean, we seen a lot of shows, and it was fun. The drunk Fred, we would have fit right in. Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't believe the things were really expensive at like the hotels and stuff. Yeah, you know, they have like McDonald's and everything in the hotels too, but everything's twice as much there. The buffets were pretty cheap though. That was a cheap way to eat. And then if you got off the strip a little ways, then stuff was cheaper too. But everything on the strip was definitely more money. But I definitely want to go back someday. But then we started having kids and stuff, and it's kind of hard to get away now with the kids and all the animals and stuff. So, but someday we'll go back. We took a helicopter ride of the city at night too, which was pretty cool. Get to see the whole city lit up at night from the air. That was pretty neat.
Blue Man Group. We've seen the Blue Man Group.
We did see the Blue Man Group. That, yeah. And I actually was able to get VIP tickets for that. So after the show, we actually got to go backstage and meet them. And so they put us in this room, and a couple of the Blue Man came in the back room there. Not all of them, but I think there was 2 of them that came back and talked to us for like 45 minutes. And then it was kind of funny because they when they come in the room, they're completely out of character and just like, you know, regular people, not like how they are on the stage or whatever. And then, you know, we were sitting there talking for quite a while, and it was pretty fun. And then they were doing like a signing, an autograph signing after the show in one of the lobbies or whatever. And so they take us down this hallway, and we're talking and everything, and we get up to where they're going to do this signing, where the people can start to see them. And in mid-sentence, I mean, we're talking back and forth, and in mid-sentence, right when they get around the people, they go into character, and they never said another word to us. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right, we're done now. But yeah, that was pretty cool. They were pretty interesting people, and there's many Blue Man or whatever, you know. They have the traveling one, and then the Vegas show and different things, and it's a bunch of different people that actually play the Blue Man characters and stuff. But it was pretty neat. But yeah, we had an awesome time there. It was
really fun.
We did a lot of stuff in a week. We were really busy. And we got married too. But that was kind of like a side note almost, because you know, that whole thing lasted like a half an hour. Yeah. And then everything else was doing other things. So we went to a wax museum too. That was really cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the Titanic Museum.
Titanic Museum was really neat. We went to different museums and stuff down there too, which was really cool. It was a cool place. I was actually surprised on how early the strip kind of empties out because I'm thinking like, okay, things are going to go hot and heavy all night, like everywhere, and there is stuff going on all night. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of stuff happening all night, but really about that midnight time, the streets really do get kind of empty, and things start really dying off. I mean, we basically walked the strip most of the times. We didn't take a lot of taxis. We would basically just have it all planned out, and we would walk up and down the strip, and so we'd be way up on the end, and we'd have to walk back, and so we did a lot of walking late at night, and it was kind of surprising on how there wasn't a lot of people around at night. I mean, I figured there was going to be a lot more, but yeah, during that, like, once the sun goes down to about that midnight time, boy, it's really busy.
Yeah.
Like, there's
you
so
can't
many
really
people.
move at all.
Yeah. RWA says, was the ceremony at an Elvis chapel? No, but something like that. We actually got married at the Excalibur, so I dressed up as like a knight, and you were dressed up as like a maiden type thing. So we did get dressed up in costume, or we got married in costume. Yeah, we did. My slice of vanilla says, it's my bedtime. It was nice talking to you. Well, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it, and I hope your week goes good. Organic Gardening says, I was a best man at a Lake Tahoe wedding once. Marriage didn't last too long. Yeah, there's a lot of marriages that don't last very long. I've actually had a couple of those too. So I've been married before, and my wife has been married before too. But now, well, we've been married for 9 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 9 years this past September. So I don't know. She's putting up with me this long, so maybe she'll put up with me a couple more years. I don't know. The Susie channel says, I'm so glad to stop by in for a while. Great live stream. Time for me to go to sleep. And the best to have you. Well, thanks for stopping by, Susie. I appreciate it. And have a good rest of your night. RWA said, that sounds really cool. Makes for great wedding photos. Yes, it does. It was pretty neat. They, of course, had all the costumes and everything, and we just had to show up, get dressed. It was a really quick ceremony, and then we went back out, catch some more shows and stuff. So the weird thing is, we were at Vegas, and really we hardly gambled at all. I mean, we didn't play.
No. There's too many shows and things going on.
Yeah, we were so busy doing other things that we really never sat down in the casinos for very long. We did a couple times, like while we were waiting for a show to start or something. Like we would have like 20 minutes or something where whatever we were doing next wasn't started yet. But we basically just seen shows, went to museums, stuff like that. It was a lot of fun. Susie said, "Good luck finding those Oreos." You bet. I'm gonna look for those. She
Did you?
So the Susie.
Hit them? Oh.
No. The Susie channel is the channel that does those like unboxings of the food, like I showed you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So she did one. I think it was her last video where she did like these birthday cake Oreos, and so I was looking for those today, but they didn't have them at Walmart. She said, "Look at Target."
Oh, okay. And I was just thinking, I did hide the Oreos that we had here in the house. So.
Did you hide them from me or did you hide them from Jackson?
I hid them from Jackson, but I didn't know if you'd know to look for them.
Well, I told him earlier while you were upstairs, I said I got the family size, so it'll last like 2 days.
Yeah. If we hide it from Jackson, we might get 3.
We might get 3. I do like Oreos, so.
Oreos and milk. I think that was like one of the snacks that we've done since we've been together. That was like, you got that, and then we just kind of, it's kept going for years now. RW
says, my wife and I got married at the Justice of the Peace 34 years ago. Things look good for you two. Well, I appreciate it, RW. 34 years, that's a great accomplishment.
Yes, it is.
I enjoyed the, when I got married before, it was a big church wedding. I mean, there was hundreds of people there and everything. And when we went, it was just her and I. nobody else was there. We just went down to Vegas, found a spot to get married. We didn't really even have a spot picked out before we left. I mean, we went down there to get married, but I mean, one thing Vegas does is they can marry people. I mean,
every building has a place to get married at.
Yeah, there's hundreds of. I mean, you get married in your car. You don't even have to get out. They have drive-through chapels that you don't even have to get out of your car. You can just go up to the window and get married. So we weren't too worried about like finding a spot. So we went around, looking at all the different hotels and a few different things or whatever. And I don't remember what it was. Was it like day 4 or something that we were down there? We got married on.
Yeah, I've been day 4.
I think it was day 4. Yeah. But it sure was a trip of a lifetime. It was fun. Let's see what else. Well, we talked about flying. So you flew before though, didn't you?
I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was really little, my mom took us down to Texas to visit my grandmother that lived down there. And that was my first time I flew.
Yeah, that was my very first time.
And it was funny, I had a picture of you when we were in the airplane. And it was just, I happened to catch him before he was smiling because I was taking a picture of us together. So he looked terrified. And he's like, I'm not scared, but the picture says otherwise.
Foul Fish, how's it going, buddy? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. See the Dumbest Fisherman TV, Fishing versus Marriage Stories episode, since one kills the other. That's right. Usually fishing and the marriage, right? You gotta pick one or the two. I'm lucky that she likes to go fishing too and hunting, so usually she goes out with me. This year though, she didn't do a lot of that because of our newborn son, but
I did fish off the shore a few times when you and Jax went out on the boat, though.
Yep, she did. Yeah, she took James out a couple times, and Jax and I went on the boat, and then she fished from shore. But as James gets older, they'll all come back out. We'll have to probably get a bigger boat, though.
Perfect excuse to get a bigger boat.
Right. Of course, I need a bigger boat now. It's not for me. It's because we need a bigger boat for everybody. Yeah, right?
Good cover story.
Right. Let's see. Dumbest Fisherman says, wife used to go on the boats with me, and then I think she realized she doesn't like being confined with me for 8 hours at a time. Yeah. And that probably hurts that marriage thing a little bit more. Yeah. Like, you could just go fishing by yourself. I need a break. Yeah, Misty, she's done a lot of hunting and everything, and I'll post this link again for people that maybe hasn't seen it and wanna see it. But not this last fall, but the fall before, NPR Minnesota Public Radio actually went out hunting with her and did a little piece on women hunters in the outdoors and stuff. So that's just a link to that article that they did that's on their website. But if anybody's interested, they can go check that out. But it's pretty cool. She didn't actually get her deer that day when they were out there with her, which would have been really neat. But it was, 10 days later or so, then she actually shot her first deer with archery. So it was just pretty neat. And then she's gone, she shot a deer with black powder 3 years ago?
3 years ago, yeah.
3 years ago?
My very first deer.
That was her very first deer, yeah.
I shot 2 turkeys.
Oh yeah, you haven't talked about turkey hunting yet, yeah.
I think turkey is probably my favorite thing to hunt, just because they react to you. You know, you can call them, and then they call back, and they come to you, and they poof up, and they dance, and all that. So I think they're probably my favorite just because they interact with you. But yeah, I shot my 2. The very first one was just a young Jake, so he wasn't, I mean, still great, but he was still little, and he didn't poof up like the other ones did.
Well, we should tell that story in more depth with that Jake.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so there's 2 young Jakes, and then there was their hen, and she was the leader of the group. She came up, we're sitting in the tent, we're watching the Jakes come up, and all of a sudden, we have the door open to our tent, and she's standing right there looking at us. I really thought that she was going to come in the tent with us.
Yeah. So when we were hunting, and I was calling, the hens kept calling back and forth. So I actually called the hen in, and the Jakes followed her in. And that hen, instead of going to the decoys, she came right to me calling, and we had the door open on the blind. And she actually walked right up to that opening and stuck her head like right in that opening and was looking at us like, "Hey guys, how's it going?" And the Jakes were out there in the field, and I was like, "Don't move, she's right there." And we had to wait for her to walk around the back side of the blind, so then she could pull up.
I could pull up and shoot. But yeah, I really thought she's just going to come into the blind, and there we're going to be.
Ken's Vlogs, how's it going, buddy? Thanks for stopping by. Good to see you. I'm glad that you could make it. He says, I'm new here. My name is Justin. This is Misty. We live in Minnesota, and we do hunting and fishing videos, and usually Jackson, my son, is with me, but this is the first time my wife has come on one of the live streams, and she's just been telling some of her stories of hunting and fishing and stuff. So yeah, then you got that turkey. It was 20 yards, and shot it with the 12 gauge. That was her very first turkey. And then the very next day I had gotten mine. And then we went out there the next year, and then
I got my second one. You actually called it across the river. We were told that you can't call turkeys across the river. And sure enough, he was able to get the turkey to come over. It flew across the river and comes up the embankment. Now, I couldn't see it right away, but Jackson and Justin could see it. And I'm sitting there waiting and waiting, and they're like, yeah, it's coming, it's coming. I'm like, I still don't see it. And it finally comes into my view, and it's all poofed up and doing its little dance and gets into where I can see. And it's closer than the one I shot the very first time. He's like, whenever you're ready to shoot, you can shoot. And I shot as soon as he said I could go ahead and shoot.
Yeah, that was a pretty fun experience. There was a flock of, I don't know, about 20 of them that was across the river. And, usually you can't get them to fly across the water. I mean, they will fly, but they usually don't. And not only did we call that Tom off of hens already, but he flew across the river, came up to our decoy, and he was going to, beat the crap out of our Tom decoy. And, yeah, she shot him at 10 yards right as he was going to beat up our decoy. And then it wasn't about 15 minutes later in that same spot, I actually called another turkey out of that same group of turkeys across the river after she shot hers. And there was, 4 of them that came over. Yep. And I actually got my turkey out of that same flock, flying across the river in the same spot. So that was pretty neat. Let's see, Dumbest Fisherman says, I miss fishing in Wisconsin. That was fun. It's white bass in the middle of town at the power plant year-round. Yeah, fishing is a lot of fun. And white bass are a lot of fun, too. I mean, if you can get on a school white bass, you can sit there and catch white bass, like, over and over and over again. That's actually the only fish where I've caught 3 on one crankbait. So I've caught 3 white bass at one time, hooked on one crankbait before, where we were fishing up at Devil's Lake, North Dakota, and we got into school of white bass, and I caught one, and then the other white bass kept coming up to try to take that crankbait out of its mouth, because, it thought it was a minnow or whatever. It was trying to take that minnow that they thought out of its mouth, and then they got hooked too. And then another one kept trying to do it, and it got hooked, and I actually pulled in 3 white bass on one crankbait, which was pretty neat. How's it going, High Velocity Savage? Good to see you. Hope your weekend's going good. 7 is enough. Hello. How's it going? Thanks for stopping by. Good to see you. But that was my first. I've never caught. I've never had a double, but I have had a triple. High Velocity said, I was in a live yesterday bragging about your trailers. Well, I appreciate that. I like making those trailers. I enjoy that. It's pretty cool. And I think everybody gets a kick out of them, too. I like to build the hype. They're usually pretty dramatic. Organic gardening. My best friend was turkey hunting with his dad. They called up 2 turkeys and they shot at the same time to get them both. Yeah, well, we haven't had a double yet,
no.
But we've almost a couple times where we've had 2 come in, and we almost were able to get 2 shots off. This last spring, I actually took Jackson out. So Jackson has actually hunted with us turkeys from the start. But this last spring, he was actually able to hunt a turkey himself in Minnesota. So he went hunting, and then my dad went out hunting for the very first time too, which was really cool for me. I was able to take out my son and my dad on their very first turkey hunts. And Jackson did get his turkey. I actually have a video of that. One of my earlier videos, that's when we really started posting videos, was during this spring's turkey season. And my dad got several opportunities at birds, but he did not get one. But it was really cool taking those 2 out. And there was a time where my dad and we were using crossbows where we shot at turkeys at the same time, but we did not get them that particular time. But we'll be out hunting again this spring. My dad, Jackson, myself, and then I think Misty will probably go. She skipped this last spring again because, well, the turkey season is it's the 2nd week in April, and James was born the
8th.
The 8th. So James was like a week old when we went go turkey hunting. So she didn't go with us this year, but
maybe he'll be quiet enough and he can come too.
Yeah.
And he could start young.
Yeah. Well, turkeys is a good for getting kids involved in something other than like rabbits and squirrels or whatever. Turkeys is a really good animal to get them started, because you don't have to be like super quiet, and you can go out in like a blind, a pop-up blind, and so you can conceal their movements and stuff. It's just a really good thing to get kids out started on turkey hunting. The Demonstrator says, I caught 3 calico bass on 1 crank once, gave up after that. Hate those things to some degree. Yeah. Yeah, I've eaten some white bass here and there, but we catch so much fish that we don't keep a lot. When we go out, we'll it's very common for us to catch like 60 fish. I mean, That's pretty common to catch 60 of them. And a lot of days we catch more. And, there's days that we don't catch any. But we do catch a lot of fish throughout the year. So I don't take a lot of fish home. I don't, if I took a lot of, like my limit home every time, I would hate eating fish. I mean, it would be too much. So I'll take a couple fish every week or so, just a couple, and we'll have, a meal once a week or something. But then we're always having fresh fish too, because we fish so much that there really is no point for us to like freeze any or not. But that's just because though we're always fishing. Now, I haven't had fish now for about 2 months.
Yep.
I haven't fished a lot over the last couple months. With waterfowl season and deer season, I wasn't able to get back out fishing before everything froze up. So I've been waiting now for the lakes to freeze up so I could do some ice fishing, which they have now, but I just haven't had time to, because I am still deer hunting too. I've been waiting I've been waiting for one buck in particular to come out with my bow, and I have until the end of December, so I still will make some time for that. No Limit Cassie. How's it going, Cassie? She says, hi there, Mr. and Mrs. Warrior. Just a quick pop in to say hi. So that's JNC. That's Cassie.
Okay.
Yeah. Really the star of JNC. She's the one who catches all the fish. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Basically.
And he gets to cook it, right? She catches it, he cooks it.
I don't know how that works. But she caught that sturgeon back when we did that challenge.
Oh,
with that.
right.
Yeah. Which was pretty cool. And if I remember right, I think I've seen some videos where she's caught another sturgeon, or maybe that was John, but. I get to catch and cook.
I cook. Well.
Sounds like another video, a catch and cook. We've actually thought about doing some catch and cook videos. We probably will during ice fishing, because we usually cook some food and stuff out on the ice too. So we'll probably do like a catch and cook episode someday. Yeah, the turkey hunting is pretty fun. I've enjoyed that. We just started that 3 years ago. Yeah, I had never been turkey hunting before, and we just kind of got into it, and we found some really good land and a good landowner that's been letting us hunt for all those years, and we've been able to go down there and shoot a turkey every spring. So
yep,
it's been fun.
We tried fall, but fall is a lot different than spring. They don't come to the call, and you kind of have to stalk them.
Yeah.
So, and I tried with my bow, and I shot at it.
Yeah.
But I didn't get it.
Yeah, we have tried a couple times fall turkeying, but they do act a little different. They're not quite as call and decoy friendly as they are in the spring. In the springtime, when they're looking for a mate, they're a lot more responsive to a call. And then also decoys too.
Yeah.
But we'll get some spear fishing in too this year. I got to put some insulation in our houses though. We didn't really insulate our houses when we built them, which they still, we get to heat them just fine. They'll still heat to 70 degrees, no problem, when it's like minus 20 outside. But I just want to use less propane to heat them, so I want to save a little money on the heating cost to heat the fish house and get them insulated a little better. So I'll do that this winter. We'll probably, I don't know if I'll do it before we actually put them out on the ice. I might do it while they're out on the ice and cut the sheets and stuff here and bring them out there and then just glue them on. Organic Gardening says in Virginia we have a nice hills to call turkeys up. Yeah, there's a lot of turkeys. You know, in Minnesota, it wasn't all that long ago where the turkeys were basically gone. There wasn't hardly any turkeys around anywhere. And then the Minnesota DNR invested quite a bit of money and time into trying to bring the turkeys back in Minnesota. And they've done an excellent job. There's some people that, don't believe that the Minnesota DNR has done a very good job on certain things, which I agree with too. They haven't done a great job on everything, but the turkeys, they've done a great job. There's so many turkeys around now. There's so many opportunities to hunt turkeys here in Minnesota. When I was a teenager, you never see a turkey. If you seen a turkey, it was like, oh my goodness, there's a turkey over there. You stopped. If you were driving down the road, you stopped, took pictures of it, told everybody like, hey, I actually saw a turkey. And then nowadays, though, I see turkey just about every day. There's turkeys all over the place. They've done an excellent job of bringing them back. Let's see. RWA said turkeys might be tougher to shoot because it's so close to Thanksgiving, aka Turkey Day. That's right. They know what's coming, so then they go hide. Yeah. No, it's pretty cool because this Thanksgiving, because Jackson got his turkey, so we actually froze that and saved it for Thanksgiving. So he fed a Thanksgiving meal to everybody.
Yep.
So we actually served and cooked his turkey for our Thanksgiving meal, which he was pretty proud of. He thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, he kept telling everybody, "This is my turkey. I shot it. It's my turkey."
Yep, it was pretty neat. Jewish Redneck Preppers. How's it going? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Let's see. Dumbest Fisherman says, get a waste oil burner. Can use waste cooking oil, motor oil for cheap heating. Can use to run a boil and direct heat and melt snow and ice. Yeah, I've looked into some of those too. I haven't bought one of those yet, but that is a good way to do it. Larry Johnson. Hello, everybody. Can't stay long. Just stopping to show support. Well, good to see you, Larry. Thanks for stopping in. I hope your night's going good. Yeah, my one house, I have a propane burner in that one. So I use 20-pound propane tanks to heat that one. And then actually the Spear House, I have propane as like a backup. But I also have a little wood stove, so we can cut. The only thing I don't like about the wood stove is I don't know how deep that is. It's like 6 inches or so. So you have to cut the pieces of wood down. I think it is to 6 inches. So they're pretty small. I wish it was just a little bit bigger. But that thing will cook you out. I mean, you got to be careful. You don't want to put a bunch of wood in there and get pretty hot. RWA says, I've heard stories about how peacocks were in abundance at one time. Peacocks? I know I've never seen a peacock in the wild.
No.
But my grandpa, many years ago, he actually raised peacocks. He had a lot of them. At one time, I think he had like 40 peacocks, which was really, really cool. He had some of these peacocks, and he just kind of like have them out in his yard. He had some like in pens and stuff too, but then he had some that roamed around his yard. And so you go up to his house and stuff, and there would be this big peacock, with its tail all out, and he'd be, roaming around the front of the yard and stuff. It was pretty neat. Organic Gardening says, I made a burner that uses waste oil to melt metal in my foundry. That's in my metal casting channel. Well, that's pretty cool. So what kinds of things do you cast? Do you like make knives and stuff like that too, or no? Because I've thought about doing like some, I don't know, blacksmithing stuff where to make some knives and stuff, some blades out of some junk metal that I have around here, but I haven't quite done that. I've watched some YouTube videos of people doing it, but it's kind of sparked my interest a little bit, but I haven't done that yet. But then my grandpa and grandma, they would take the peacock feathers and then they would make things. Like they would make these like bouquet things out of them, and then these elaborate things on that you'd hang on the wall. I don't know what you call them, but out of the feathers, and that was pretty neat. Says, I haven't done knives. I mostly do artsy stuff. Well, that's pretty cool. I know my dad, I don't know if he's still in the chat or not, but I know they've bought some abstract like garden figurines and stuff made out of I don't know, wrenches and they like tools and stuff, and they put them together and make like a little little figurine thing. Yeah, that's pretty cool. But yeah, we have quite a large garden here. We have well, is it what? It's 1, 2, 3. There's 4 separate gardens, and the one garden is it's over 100 feet long. It's like 140 feet by. It's about 140 by 100, and then there's another one that's about 8 feet, and it's 140 feet. And then there's another one that's 100 feet long and about 8 feet wide. And then there's one that's more of a square. It's about like an 80 by 80 square. And we plant, anything, corn, squash, pumpkins, lots of tomatoes and potatoes and green beans and
carrots.
Lots of carrots, yeah. We do a lot of that stuff, and then we do a lot of canning. We can all that and freeze some of it and do a lot of that stuff. It's pretty fun. It's a lot of work, but it is fun. And it tastes pretty good, and you always have an abundance of food. Well, guys, I think we're gonna call it a night and head to bed. It's 10:30 here now, and I do got to get up for work in the morning and everything. So I sure do appreciate everybody stopping by, and we'll definitely do a live stream again. And Misty here will stop by, and maybe we'll get Misty. We'll have all of us, Misty and Jackson and James, in the next one maybe. So
that'll be fun.
That'll be fun. So again, I appreciate everybody stopping by tonight and hanging out with us. It does mean a lot to us. So until next time, we'll see you then.